Sure. So a little bit of Jackson Gutierrez getting in there in the second half against UAB, playing different position. Looked like he was there at snipe for a little bit. What extra dimension does that add to your offense?
Well, Jackson's a pretty physical runner. He has some ability there. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Jackson can, like I said, Jackson can run the ball. He can get on the perimeter. He has good speed. So looking for just a little bit, some opportunities there for him in the backfield. But we'll see kind of how that goes. He certainly brings some other things to the table, that you never know, right? So we'll see how that goes.
Running back, not snipe. Thank you, Scott.
Yep,
Apologies,
there you go.
Coach. Uh, also want to talk about we had the opportunity to speak with Luke, and he just shared his mindset going into knowing that heck, in this Tulsa game, he might not see a single target, but he is going to continue to block. He even said that, in his mind, a 63-yard run where he was blocking is just as good as a 63-yard touchdown reception. When you have players like that on the edge creating for this offense, what does it mean to you as a coach? They don't care if they get the football, they care more about the result of the play.
Well, that's kind of just typical of our guys. We're blessed that we have, some skilled guys this year, and we can spread the ball around. And some games, some people may get targeted more than others or get more handoffs than others, just depending on what we're doing schematically and what the defense is giving us. But our kids play hard and they play together, and that's one of the great things about being at the Naval Academy is that guys just want to win and be successful, and they pull for each other as hard as they pull for themselves. So, but Luke's continues to get better, and he's earning more and more confidence from me, from the other coaches, and from the quarterbacks. And so it's good to see, because he has a good athlete. He can run, he can do some things.
When you go on the road in your career, how does your routine change? What kind of alterations do you add, or does it stay exactly the same?
Um, Obviously on Friday, depending on where you're going and what's going on, we generally have our practice Friday morning then before we leave around lunchtime. So usually that practice on Friday when we're at home is in the afternoon. But then once we get to the location, it kind of becomes the same routine that you have at home because our guys stay in the hotel at home as well. So you get to the hotel, you have dinner, you have meetings, you watch a little film, you have some reminder tests. Now Saturday is a night game, so on the road night game you get a little extra time, so the guys will be able to get a little extra sleep. Uh, but it's not any different at that point. Once we arrive in the town we're going to play, uh, then it's very very similar to home. Friday, like I said, the travel is the different piece, but once we hit that, we're kind of on the in a normal routine.
Thank you.
Can't hear you, Scott.
Sorry, I had to sneeze
Uh-oh.
and hit mute. Why?
Me, Scott, that was a little fuzzy.
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, I want to make sure I didn't jump off sides there. Hi, Drew. It's great to hear from you here. I'm Wyatt Kopelman. I'm a co-host of a new college sports cast called Broadway to Broadway. It's a podcast, as a matter of fact. Curious to know how are you emphasizing? What are you emphasizing the most to ensure the offense's rhythm can sustain itself from Saturday, putting up 463 yards of offense, into moving into a road game against Tulsa?
Well, there's a lot of challenges this week, but there's challenges every week. I do think Tulsa is really good on defense. They have impressed me on film. They can run, they play hard. Got a lot of respect for Coach Reardon. I've got to go against him before. He's always had his defenses playing really hard and really sound, very aggressive at Gardner Webb at East Tennessee, and obviously now at Tulsa. So I've been really impressed with them defensively. They've gotten a handful of transfers in that are really good players. They're really good up front, but then they also had some young talent from last year. So they've got, I think, a little more depth than what we saw at UAB. But I'm really impressed with them up front. They got some dudes up front, and linebacker from East Tennessee is a really good player. They're just really solid defensively. They do a great job schematically, and they got them playing fast and angry. So a lot of challenges there. It's mainly though we've got to be us. We got to execute, and that starts with we're really good when we don't turn the ball over. Okay, that's the most important statistic in football. I think is turnovers and winning the turnover battle. And you know, playing complementary football, right? So I think we have a good defense, and they have created a lot of turnovers the last 2 years, and then last week they did it again in the second half, and that's when we separated, right? When all of a sudden you start, uh, we're not turning it over and able to drive the ball. Defense is creating turnovers, getting us the ball back. Special teams is flipping the field. There's just complementary football. I think is going to be a big deal. Going on the road, hostile environment. Those kids are going to be that we're playing against going to be really excited to play. And but our guys will too. I see it seems to me we're a more mature, confident offense than we were a year ago. And I just think it's because we've got a lot of guys that have played and we've got a lot of guys that have experienced what it looks like when it's done right. And so I think we stay pretty even keel. So I expect our guys to respond really well on the road. But that adversity's coming. We had a little Saturday. We're going to have some more this weekend. How are we going to handle that? We're going to just double down and be us and do the things we need to do to be successful, which is taking care of the ball, being able to run the football, being able to hit the open guys when they're there, and just make good decisions on the football field. But Tulsa will challenge us in a way we haven't been challenged yet. I think they're pretty good on defense.
And you mentioned the importance of playing complementary football for a different kind of opponent. I know Brian Newberry mentioned on Monday how Tulsa creates a lot of problems schematically on both sides of the football. Is there anything you emphasize differently within this offense when you're going on the road, even just within the offensive line, whether it's communication, tempo, or just the mentality to prepare this team to go out and win and respond to pressure?
Yeah, I think you get in those situations and you learn. Is there something we can do? People ask me, when you got new starters on the offensive line, what do you do to get them? How do you get them ready to go? You practice and you put them in the situation, and they have to make some mistakes, and they got to grow through those mistakes. But we have a lot of guys on offense who've been there and done that. So I expect our guys to, as many seniors as we have playing, I expect our guys to respond the right way in that type of environment. And then as coaches, we got to make sure we're doing a good job of putting in situations where they can be successful. We got to get them in good calls, make good decisions. Because that's for us. When you go on the road, probably ease into it a little bit more. Um, but still be aggressive at the right time, give our guys a chance to make plays. I trust our players. I got a quarterback that I trust. Okay. I mean, he does a good job not putting the ball in harm's way. He does a good job getting us in the right things and communicating. So I think we have some experienced players who've been there and done that and been in big games, been on the road, been in hostile environments. So hopefully that'll help us in those moments.
And Blake has yet to take a sack through 2 games. What do you think's been the bigger key to that? The physical side of your protection up front, or the technique and communication aspect that the line and the backs bring?
I think a little bit of everything. I think it's the nature of who we are. I think it's hopefully we're hard to predict when we're going to throw, when we're not going to throw. We're certainly not going to be air raid and let people just pin their ears back on us. But at the same time, I think our offensive line has done a really good job. So it's all those things: offensive line protecting, it's doing the right things at the right times, okay, and trying to keep people off balance. It's the quarterback getting the ball out on time. It's all those things go together. So if we're giving up 3 or 4 sacks in a game, it's going to be a tough day. So we got to do a good job. We can't take sacks, can't hold the ball back there. And our quarterback is mobile, obviously. So, he has to, make good decisions about when to step up in the pocket, when to take off with the football, when to get on the perimeter. And like I said, I really trust Blake to do that. So, but that's a big deal for us. All right. No turnovers, no sacks. Those you start putting all that together. And if we're not having lost yardage plays, we're certainly a lot more effective.
Thanks, Drew.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, what has Luke Hutcherson done to step up his game to take it up another notch where you can trust him out on the wide receiver?
I just think it's every day, right? Just stacking days together and putting a consistent body of work out there. And he is a much better receiver now than he was a year ago, obviously, because that was a new position for him. So Coach Okai has done a great job with him. But he's going to be, I guess he's he's a junior now, right? So I mean, he's still got time too to improve. So and I like I said, I've been pleased with the split end position, just the progress that it's made, being consistent, making some plays. But Luke is a talented young man. He can run, he can do some things. He's very smart. I think he'll continue to grow and get better and we want to get the ball in the playmaker's hands, and he's showing us that he's a guy we can count on to do that.
Talking about growing under fire at times, three sophomores on your offensive line, not only having to learn, but having to perform at the same time. I mean,
Mhm.
how impressed you've been with the way they've responded?
So far, so good, right? I mean, it's been it's going to get more and more challenging. This week will be their biggest challenge. But I'm proud of those guys. You've had Jalen out there, you got Sean, and then Torin coming in and playing like he did. It bodes well for the future, right? But there's going to be there's still, those guys got some challenges coming up, and we got to see how they respond. But I've been obviously very pleased with their performance so far.
Stepping back from your coach's role as a father, what were your son's biggest takeaways from being on the sidelines for a couple games at the stadium?
Yeah, he's over there in his t-shirt and bucket hat, right? So he won't get to travel this week. Maybe in a couple years he can work his way up. I'm just glad to have him here. And he enjoys being here, and he's while he has challenges going on, because this is a challenging place, his experience has been phenomenal so far. And so to have him close, for me and his mom, to know that we can see him occasionally, and his little brother looks up to him too. We'll plan on Isaiah. That's hopefully that he'll get to do the same thing, and of course my oldest son Noah, he watches it all. So this being a family deal for us is really important. Um, my whole life, my whole coaching life, that's the way we wanted things to be, was family. And then to have a son, and that's doing it with us, is pretty special. So we're proud of him and the choice he made to do this. Um, and hopefully they'll let me hang around a long time so I can see him graduate and see the next one get to do it.
Thanks.
Wags.
So you remember going against Trey Lamb back, what was it? It was when he was at Gardner Webb, right?
Yep, went against them twice in Gardner Webb, once in 22 in the regular season, then the playoffs in 23. Yeah, so I know Trey. We go way back. Both his dad was a high school coach in Georgia for many years, very successful high school coach, state championship coach, Hal Lamb. Hal played for my dad at West Georgia. So the
Got
Lamb
what
family and the
connection?
Cronic, yeah, so the Lamb family and the Cronic family, go back, and I worked for his uncle Bobby at Furman, and Bobby obviously was the head coach at Mercer. His cousin Bobby's son Trey Lamb was a quarterback at App State, now coaches at Virginia. I mean, it's we've known those guys for a long time. I have a lot of respect for that family. Got a lot of respect for Trey. Trey's an outstanding young coach. But I hope we can get after him a little bit.
So Coach Newitt said he's a brilliant offensive mind. Do you think you agree? You like what he does offensively?
He does, real creative, lots of formations, gets the ball out of the quarterback's hands really quickly. But he'll run the ball too. They'll run the stretch play and some different things and mixes it up. So I think he's one of the bright young coaches out there. I do. And he's a guy you watch what he's doing, maybe still an idea or two from him. But I steal ideas from a lot of people. But he's one of those guys that you got to keep your eye on, because he has moved up quickly in the business and does a fantastic job.
So I don't know if you heard him talking to you on his Monday presser, but he is telling you that if you think he's going to defend you the way he did when he was Gardner Webb, because his D coordinator was at Gardner Webb with him, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he says he's got some new things for you.
I imagine he does. You always try to evolve and put a new wrinkle in and do something different. So I'm sure we'll see something Saturday that might be a little bit new. But the bottom line is we got to go execute, right? And there's 11 guys out there. We got to find where they are, get us in a good play call, and do a good job executing. But those guys do an outstanding job, and Like I said, Coach Reardon, I'm really impressed with the job he's done with his defenses over the years. Fantastic. So it'll be a great challenge. I'm looking forward to it, and it's always good to compete against some people and have some fun with that.
All right, thanks.
Gary Lambert.
Hey, Drew, good to talk to you again.
Hey, Gary.
I was talking to Coach Ukaitis about Nathan Kent, who I'm writing about,
Mhm.
and one of the things he harped on, and he said it like twice for emphasis, his main job this year is to lead.
Mhm.
Can you kind of jump on that and expand on what Mick's talking about?
Well, first of all, Nate has all the characteristics to be a captain on the football team. His teammates respect him. His position group, he is undoubtedly the leader of that room. He's a guy who has a lot on his plate. But he handles it as well as anybody in our program could handle playing football, running track, beginning stages of going into the SEALs because that's what he wants to end up doing.
Right.
So there's a lot going on for him, just mentally, physically, emotionally, and he handles it all very well. So he is so competitive. He's a hard worker. He really cares. He blocks his tail off. He hustles. He is sets the example for that room and for the offense in a lot of ways. So that kid is he is an exceptional young man. I mean, just look at what all he's doing and how he does it, and what he's going to be. You wouldn't shock me to look up. He's a senator one day. I mean, he's just that kind of young man. He's going to be in a leadership position, doing something special. Because that's just who he is. Outstanding person.
I wanted to touch base with you on, the two sport thing, kind of a two-part question. How much experience over your coaching travels has that been part of? That's pretty unusual. And
Yeah.
secondly, reflect on your first spring, a huge teaching section of the year, and he can't be on the field to do any reps. He's just coming into meetings and all that. How concerned were you, and how, much did he kind of calm those concerns? How fast did he catch up?
Yeah. So first part of the question again, I went blank for a second.
Just how many have you had? You
Oh,
count them on one
to do
hand,
dual
two
sport.
sport
I've
guys, and
had a
all the
handful.
traveling
Yeah, I've
coaching
had a
that you've done.
handful, and most time it's been track,
Yeah,
but not to the depth that because he's so good at it. He's gonna go to these finals and these nationals, and for him, he's so good at track that it takes longer, and he puts more into it, which who can blame him? So he's one that he missed both springs, obviously, and then missed a lot of this summer. But if anybody on the team can kind of handle that, it's him. Now, the first spring not having him, I didn't really know him. And so I had to kind of get to know him, late in the summer, last summer, and I'd seen him a little bit on film. But until you get out there and work with a young man and see what he does in person and all that, you just don't know, right? And Coach Okaitis informed me, what his thoughts were, but for me, until I saw him, hard to know, right? So, but he's extreme. Whatever he's in, he's dedicated to it, right? He's whatever he's doing at the time, he is 100%. So it didn't take me long to see how that he could help us with his speed and some different things. How hard he played. So would I like to have him all the time? Absolutely. But I
yeah.
certainly understand. He's special and he's doing a lot of things, and we're just glad he's with us this fall, and he'll continue every week to improve and get his body back kind of under him, and he's going to be one of the reasons, if we have success, he'll be one of the reasons we do.
Well, you got this new guy. I mean, he's not new, but he's new to you, and that must have been an uncomfortable kind of feeling. Like, do you trust him? Is he ready? Well, he started what, 11 games
Sure,
last year and was
sure.
awfully productive. And
Yeah. Well, I didn't know him to trust him, but I trust Mick Yukaitis.
yeah,
And so that was a big piece for me, just the things that Mick said about him, that what he believed about him. And so that was, that kind of put my mind at ease on some of those things.
Last question. Um, with the emergence of this talented junior, Hutcherson, and that was a pretty play, nice design, coach. He said on his second step, he knew he was going to be wide open. Um, how much has Nathan kind of shared? Obviously, Coach Akitis is the guy, but I mean, how much is Nathan's presence and being in his ear kind of helped him along the path to get him in position? I mean, that's a great competition now
Sure.
between
And
those
those
two.
kids are both going to play and they're both going to help us
Yeah,
along with Josh Garrett. So I'm sure Nate's leadership has been big for Luke. Uh, I think there's a comfort level when you know that you don't have to be the guy all the time, that you got somebody to share it with. You know what I mean?
right.
Every position we have, the guys are that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's the quarterback room, which can be sometimes the worst one when you have, because usually there's just one guy that gets to play, and our guys pull for each other. You can see it on film in practice. You see when a guy makes a throw or makes a run, the other guys are excited. There's genuine, even though there's competition at positions, there's genuine pulling for the other guy,
Right.
and being happy for your teammates, and that's such a healthy uh, way to be, and that's the way these kids are. It's in every room, on both sides of the ball, is the way I see it. So it makes it a lot of fun to work with them.
Yeah. Listen, thanks again for your time and your
Sure.
thoughts, and good luck at Tulsa.
Thank you.
Nathan Kent, world class speed, world class person. I just wrote your headline for you, Gary.
There you go.
Bill Wagner.
Well, you always do.
I know. I'm gonna go back to Bill Wagner. We got 8 minutes left. I want to make sure Wags has what he needs.
Going back to what Tim was asking, is Gutierrez now a running back?
He's gonna play some running back. Yeah, man, he's gonna play some running back.
I just feel like it's a guy that's too good to have standing on the sideline with a headset all game.
Yeah, and I think some of that is also due to Vic not being available yet as well, because Vic Listorti had a really good spring and emerged as the next guy behind Alex. And of course his hamstring's just been giving him fits. And so, having and listen, there's Shane's doing a good job those, but Jackson brings something to the table with the ball in his hands. And so and he's done a good job learning and playing the position. He has a physicality to him, so it's really more uh we need that second guy, right? We need that second guy that can do some things with the ball. And that's where we went with it. And I think it's a good fit for now. Jackson's quarterback days aren't over, but for right now, we need him a little bit more right there.
So a guy rushes for 180 yards on 7 carries and you can't get in the game the next week.
Wags, I knew you were going to go there with it. Did you not like the way Blake played? Ah, no, it's
no, it's just, I wouldn't
yep.
want to take Blake Horvath off the field either. It's a
Yeah,
difficult
and that's something we kind of go back and forth with. Honestly, with Jackson playing more running back, it honestly makes it harder sometimes to try to play two quarterbacks because now you're a little thinner at the position, right? So there's some of that, and it's hard because Braxton is a good athlete and Braxton's done a good job, and Braxton's time is coming, right? So we're pleased with Braxton. It's just you're we got two good quarterbacks, and obviously Blake Horvath is our starter and is very special. Um, but with Jackson playing a little more B back, it makes me a little more hesitant to go wholesale on getting, more packages for Braxton when I just need him to be ready to, because he's one play away, right? He's always one play away. And but we've had those conversations, and I don't have I wish I had a better answer because I don't feel like I'm, sometimes I'm like, man, I need to get him in there some, so you never know though. We may get a little creative and figure something out, but that's kind of a little bit of my hesitation right now.
Braxton looks like he could probably play wide receiver.
Bryson could do a lot of things. He probably rush the passer at defensive end. You never know. I mean, he's a big, fast athletic guy, and he's an outstanding person, so yeah, may have to figure out a way to do it.
All right, I'm good. Thank you, Strauss. Thank you, Drew.
No,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Tim Nolan, we got 5 minutes.
Given how much your offense relies upon Alex's ability to burrow for 3 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards, and to see him break the
Well,
century
listen,
mark.
I like it better when he gets loose. Okay, we're not trying just to. We like it when he goes 50. So.
Well, to see him break the century mark for the second time in his career, how rewarding was that for you?
It's good. Alex is a really good player, right? And Alex is like everybody else on our offense. He's unselfish. He knows we have got a lot of, we have different guys that need to touch the ball. And, he was able to pop a couple things. So I think was either 14 or 15 carries, I believe. But he had a couple of explosion plays in there. Especially I think they were back to back, right, on that one drive where he popped one for a long one and then couldn't quite keep his feet. And we kind of gave it right back to him. Then he made it to the one. But Alex is a good player. Obviously, we know that, and but it's really great as an offensive coordinator to feel like you can spread the ball around and hopefully people can't key in on one guy. When you got Alex, when you have Eli, when you have Chat, okay, you got a tight end that can do something, right? You got, they'll have an X receiver that can make some plays. And then obviously a quarterback that needs to run the ball some too, right? That's just a good thing to be able to spread the ball around. And some games, some guys are going to be featured a little bit more. In other games, some other guys are going to be featured a little bit more. It just depends on what the defense is doing. But it's good to see. Yeah, Alex, I'm proud of him, and we need him to play that way. We certainly do.
Awesome. I'll pass it off. Thank you.
I'll finish it up. I saw someone tweet earlier this week that Brandon Chapman might be the most underrated player in the American just by everything he does with his blocking. And then when he does get a chance to run, it always seems to be a big play. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he had 3 explosion plays in the game, right?
Yeah.
And I love that kid. Okay, and he puts his body on the line, and he is tough as nails, and so he's special. He's special in a lot of ways because he does a lot of different things to help you win. He's a guy I'd go to war with anytime. I promise you. I trust that guy. I love being around him. Love the way he competes. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's a good football player, and he steps up in big moments.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Coach. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Y'all have a great day.